Hi everyone, this is Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and we're live in our free Facebook group, Psychic Protection Sanctuary Facebook group. This is our weekly Facebook Live, and today's topic is using joy and fun to cleanse your energy. Using joy and fun to cleanse your energy. So in this group, we are often talking about really heavy stuff. Psychic attack, people dealing with entities, black magic, all sorts of stuff that can be really unsettling. And if you're going through something really intense, it can be really overwhelming and it can be just a real bummer on your mood. So there's actually two reasons why it's a really good idea to take a break sometimes. And I'm going to talk about the sometimes in just a little bit. But to take a break sometimes from all of the focus on the heavy stuff. To take a break sometimes from trying to search and figure out the root of your issue and how to clear it. To take a break from actively clearing issues and just go out and run in the sprinklers. Just go watch a funny movie. Go play with your dog. Go dancing. There are a couple of reasons why this is a good idea. Number one, as some of you may know, dealing with a psychic attack issue can be really intense, grueling, exhausting, and kind of a bummer. And, if you're constantly fighting, and in hypervigilant zone, and in a hypervigilant mode, it can be pretty tough and, really exhausting, not only physically, but exhausting for your mood. And number two, many of you may not have thought of this part, but a lot of psychic attack, like a lot of the focus of a psychic attack, whether the thing sending you a psychic attack is an entity or a person doing black magic or some other force that's sending that bad stuff your way, a really common approach is to target the person's psychology, to target their mind and their emotions, their mood and their thinking. So if you're dealing with any kind of psychic attack, you may have noticed that your thoughts are really overwhelming. You're having a lot of OCD thought loops, like just obsessive thought loops, worry, fear thoughts, emotions of depression and anxiety. And sometimes that is some of your own stuff coming up, but oftentimes it's actually quite a bit of it is coming from the attack itself. So one way that you can counteract all of that negative interference that's targeting emotions and mind is to lighten it up. Like, we could call it a pattern interrupt. So you're going to interrupt whatever's happening. So whether it's your own fears coming up or it is fear energy coming at you from an outside source, you can interrupt that by going and doing something joyful, fun, or funny, or hilarious, or silly, or uplifting, or what have you. Okay? So I want you to think right now, what are a couple of things that would work for you, because everyone's different. What are a couple of things that would work for you to be a pattern interrupt? And listen, you don't even have to be dealing with psychic attack. You could be just a really sensitive empath, and you've just been in an environment that was really rough on your energy. So how can you do a pattern interrupt? How can you shift out of that energy. Okay. So what are some of your ways to get into an energy of joy or fun? And whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay somewhere else, I invite you to share in the comments what are some of the things that you could lean on. Okay, now I'll give you a couple of ideas. You could dance like in a normal way, put on music and just dance, or you could like dance intentionally in a really weird, goofy way. Like dance like a crazy person on purpose. You could sing in a normal way, or you could sing in a crazy way. And this is actually something that I do, that I've shared with my Academy members. A lot of times I'll share behind the scenes things that I don't necessarily share with everyone else. A couple of months ago, I was sharing with them about this singing technique that I use, which is that when people are sent my way to engage in secondary psychic attack, like they are being nudged by negative energies. The people are being nudged to mess with me and just do stupid things, just do like mildly harmful things and mess things up. And I would get agitated by that. And so I found that a way to interrupt that pattern was to sing in like on purpose, in an on purpose, out of tune opera voice about, and like make up words about like, why are they being so stupid and all that stuff. Like, why are they being lame? And by the time I was done singing, I was just cracking up, and that totally interrupted the intended pattern was to make me lower my vibration. The original external pattern was to throw me off my game. And have you ever had that happen before? And so I interrupted that pattern, and I was able to reopen my heart. So dancing, singing, playing, like whether you're just playing whatever you like to play yourself, or playing with your kids or someone else's kids, playing with your pets, goofing off, doing art, any creative activities, a funny movie, anything that's going to initiate laughter, dance or run around in the rain or in the sprinklers, sing at the top of your lungs out of tune, play your favorite music, engage in a hobby, roller skating. If you're up to it, go roller skating. I mean, you're gonna feel free doing that. Or bike riding or mountain bike riding. Not everyone's up to that. I don't know about my knees, but like I can only imagine how that is gonna just really lift your spirits. Being out in nature. So those are some things. And that's not an exhaustive list. There's a million things that you could do. I can't wait to see the comments that you all leave, things that you could do. And it's actually really good to have some of those ideas on the top of your mind already, so that when you get into that pattern, like when the negative pattern starts, when you start to go into the overwhelm or the anger or the frustration or the anxiety or whatever, and you're dealing with either the emotions or the dark energy or whatever, what are the things that you can do to get you into an energy of joy or fun or upliftment or delight? What are some of those things that you can do? Okay, so I said that I would circle back around to this part. When I'm talking about using joy and fun to cleanse your energy, I am not talking about positive vibes only. Now, if you've been following my stuff for a while, you know I seriously cannot stand positive vibes only. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I could go on, but it is seriously toxic. Positive vibes only is like keeping it's pretend way. It's like pretending to keep your vibration high. But what you're actually doing is trying to stay in positive vibes 100% of the time and never acknowledging or processing or dealing with the real messy human emotions and situations that are coming up for you. So you absolutely need to spend time addressing the difficult stuff, the emotions, the past traumas, the psychic attack that might be happening in real time. Like, you have to look at that in order to address it. Okay? When somebody is trying to be positive vibes and trying to be joy and fun 100% of the time, it actually creates kind of like a reverse of what they're intending. So they're intending to, well, if I only focus on positive, then I'm only going to attract positive to me. But what it ends up creating is this opposite effect. By pushing away and resisting anything negative, they actually unconsciously draw it to them. So by trying to be positive vibes only, and by trying to be positive vibes only, they're also, as a result, trying to avoid being negative. And so as a result, they end up attracting that negative to them. And I'm going to tell you something point blank. Some of the most disturbed people, and the people who I have witnessed who have had the most disturbing levels of darkness just pouring out of them, and they weren't seeing the darkness. I could see it. I can see what people are avoiding in themselves. And so they were pouring out so much darkness that they were trying to avoid looking at. And it was getting dumped. Okay, are we back? That's good. All right. So anyway, I could talk for hours about the toxicity of positive vibes only, and you get what I'm saying. So when I'm saying use joy, fun, and delight to cleanse your energy and to shift out of some of the heaviness of a psychic attack situation, I'm talking about taking a break. Like, spend your time, yes, focus on clearing, cleansing, learning everything you can about being empowered and psychic protection, and do all of that. And then take a day or an hour or an afternoon and take a break from it and go do something fun. Go play video games. Go whatever, run in the sprinklers. I've run out of ideas. You can share some of your ideas with me. Go do that thing, because everybody needs a break. So take a break and interrupt any negative patterns. And then you do need to come back and circle back into a rooted, grounded practice. So it is about balance. So we don't want to stay focusing on the really heavy stuff all the time. And we also don't want to be positive vibes only either. So it's a balance. So if you are someone who's been dealing with some really heavy stuff, whether it's heavy life situations, just normal life situations, or heavy spiritual situations, take an afternoon off. Go play hooky and go do something fun, whatever it is, and just don't even think about that other stuff for that afternoon. Take a break. Get into joy, fun, laughter, delight. And this magical thing happens when you do that. Some of the clarity and answers will come to you when you've taken a break. It's pretty cool. So let's see if I've left anything out. Oh, yes. There's another little fun thing that you can do. If or when at any point in your life you are dealing with an unwanted spiritual being, let's say you have a ghost in your house or whatever you might be dealing with, an entity attachment, there's one really cool thing that you can do. You can create a funny name for that entity. So instead of constantly thinking about it in a fearful way, like, oh my gosh, that thing is gonna get me, like, really, most of the time that spiritual being doesn't have as much power as it would like you to believe. And most of it is mental and emotional manipulation, activating fear within you. So a lot of psychological warfare against you. So one thing that you can do to get out of that psychological warfare is make up a name. Make up a goofy name for either the entity or the situation that you're dealing with. So I've actually been working with clients where I will just, instead of referring to whatever entity we're clearing as some like scary name or like what it actually is, I'll just call it the dude. The dude is doing this. The dude is doing, like, he's just like this dude. Or you could say like Ms. Nonsense, or let's say you've got 3 entities. The 3 Stooges are up to this whatever right now. Like, they're just ridiculous, right? Casper. Oh, Casper's here. Casper's in the kitchen right now. Oh yeah, there's some noises over there. Like, okay, well, let's do some clearing right now, right? So you do want to address it, but you can also use that funny name to help your own psychology not get unconsciously or consciously triggered into fear, because fear is not the place that you want to be. Fear actually does make things worse. So this is a great method to get you out of fear. Make a funny name, create a funny name. I actually recommend against like really harassing the entity and like actively making fun of it. I actually recommend against that unless you're totally sure what kind of entity you're dealing with, because some types of entities will lash back in a really severe way. So you don't want to be like, oh yeah, you're no, like making fun of it like that. I know some people do that. Perhaps the type of beings that they're dealing with, maybe it works okay. I just would not recommend that as a regular practice, but I would recommend making a funny name. Make up a funny name so that you're not getting too triggered or hooked into the fear. And then beyond that, you don't want to be like bantering with them. Don't be making fun of them, because that's too much bantering. You should not be interacting that much with them. The more you interact with them, the more hooked in they become. And that also goes with sending them love, whether you're like making fun of them, trying to send them love or healing. Like, don't do any of that. When you are doing that, you're creating more of a connection with them. So you make up the ridiculous name. You're not talking to them with that ridiculous name. You're talking to your roommate or whatever and saying, oh, Casper's here. Or you're talking to your healer that you're working with. You're not talking to the entity. You're not engaging with it. You ignore, put up like an imaginary wall. You ignore that entity. Ignore it. Go to a funny movie. Okay? Go to a funny movie. Don't engage. Don't engage with love. Don't engage with fear. Don't engage with it. Don't engage with the entity or the psychic attack or the black magic. Go do something fun. Go run in the sprinklers. And then when you get back home, you're going to do some energy clearing and addressing the psychic attack. Okay? So you're going to use joy and fun to take a break, interrupt. You're not going to interact directly with any entities. People are tempted to do that. There's a lot of really misguided New Age stuff out there about like, okay, I'm going to activate joy and fun and then I'm going to send that to the entity. Please don't do that. You're creating a connection with the entity. We want to disconnect. So you're going to use that joy and fun for yourself. Use it for yourself. Put up a wall between you and whatever that weird energy is that you're dealing with. Go have fun. Come home and do some more energy clearing. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope you find this helpful. I would love to hear your comments about what you like to do for fun and joy and upliftment and all of that. And, you know, in our Facebook group every Friday, we actually have something called Fluffy Bunny Friday. And we do that on purpose. It's just a fun way to lighten up the energy, and it's an invitation for everyone to post funny memes or cute memes of like their animals or jokes or inspiration. And then the other days we're doing a combination of you know, some of the heavier information and as well as inspiration. So if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else, I do invite you to join our Facebook group, Psychic Protection Sanctuary. It is a free group. We have a Facebook Live every week on Tuesday at 5:30 Pacific. And you can also find out more information about all of my different offerings at my website, which is psychicprotectionsanctuary.com. If you're watching this on Facebook, I invite you to find my YouTube channel because there's tons of hours of free content on there. The YouTube channel is called Psychic Protection Sanctuary. I do have 2 books that I have written, and they're both powerhouses of information. And you can get both of those on Amazon. Start with the Psychic Attack Sourcebook, and you can go from there. Everybody have a great evening. As always, I'm sending you all my love. And I'm keeping it authentic here. And I will see you all next week. Lots of love.